What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. Now, check this out. I was watching a video interview with Sarah Fina. I think she was a part of Jarrell Miller's camp. I think she was a co-promoter or something like that. And she spoke about Jarrell Miller with the whole using performance enhancing drugs. She talked about just a lot of things, with that went down with her time with them, and how she pretty much stuck her neck out for Jarrell Miller, how she came to his defense when he first was even accused of using these drugs, and when he was talking about banning him, and that type of thing. But check this out, man. Now, I mean, I know things happen. It's hard to find him innocent in this situation. Now, let's just say if he is, and it's one of them unfortunate situations where he seems like he's guilty, but he's not, right? Just saying, we don't know. Now, the truth would come out. I mean, well, hey, well, it's already out. He failed, so let me scratch that. But look, this is not something where like somebody can access your email, your cell phone number or something, and do dumb shit with it, and you know, get access to your credit cards or something like that. Those things happen very often. This is something where you're putting something in your body, and the fact that you've already failed 3 tests prior to this one, so 4 tests you failed. Now, or I mean, you would be more alert. I mean, because if you're not taking something willingly, what is somebody putting something in your drink, in your water, in your food? Like, I mean, like, I would be more, okay, wait, we got to figure out what's going on. Now, he said that his team is investigating and all that, but like, she said something too that I was saying myself is like, okay, he said he's innocent, he didn't do anything. But then he's like, I'm just gonna take my suspension, and I felt like, well, damn, why would you just agree to a suspension if you didn't do anything? Like, I mean, it's not as serious as going to jail, but if you was going to prison or something, you're not gonna sit back and say, all right, I'm just gonna do my time because I didn't do it, but I'm not gonna try to prove it. You know what I mean? Dude just said, like, he just gonna take his suspension, and like he just willingly took it. He's you know what I mean? Like, no fight, just I mean, you fought hard to sell the fight against AJ to prove to people that he was taking it, that he was fake, he's a fraud, you don't like him. I mean, you expressed all of those things, and you had all that energy to do that, but to defend yourself, I mean, he just took the L. Anyway, this is his 4th time. He said he don't feel like he should be banned for life. I don't know what's going to happen with this situation. Um, and I mean, with a lot that's going on, and the things that's been going on, and just a lot of people coming on social media just giving their opinions on things, just repeating things that they hear other people say. They don't even know what's going on, they're just talking. Okay, so as far as Jarrell Miller goes, I mean, we'll wait and see what's going to happen. Now, something Sarah Fina said that got my attention, definitely, and I'm about to shift gears now. She said that he felt, he seemed to be confident. He's like he was ready, and she felt confident in him, especially when, now she said they got a call. She didn't say we heard. She said they got a call from Joey DeWaco saying that he gave Anthony Joshua a concussion. So she felt comfortable in his ability, Jarrell Miller, and he was confident, along with the fact that Anthony Joshua wasn't going to be 100%. And she said that the guy was asked, did Jarrell Miller know? She said, I don't think he knew. She said, as a matter of fact, I don't, she said, this happened like right before they got the information, like, she's like, right before he got caught being dirty. So she don't think that he did know. All right. Now, I want to definitely shift to another gear. Anthony Joshua, we all watched him And I'm talking about before the bell even rung. I'm not talking about so much during the fight and then we no he got knocked down and we started saying he don't look right. No, we was saying he just didn't look right. Something didn't look right with AJ. It's just his behavior in the ring, just like the constant biting on the mouthpiece, and now when AJ spoke later about saying like he sometimes he faced anxiety before fights and stuff like that. He never made an excuse and said, "Oh, that's the reason I lost." He just said sometimes these things happen. We're all human. Mike Tyson said he used to get real scared and get nervous and pace back and forth outside. Oliver McCall, we seen this guy. He used to stand in like cry, man, and like people have different ways of trying to cope with whatever they're feeling, stress, fear, nervousness, or whatever. Okay, now this is the thing that I'm going into to make another whole point. Anthony Joshua never once made an excuse. He never once made an excuse. He protected his team. He basically knew as well that for him to start to even say, well, what happened was I was concussed, even though it could be 110% true, it's going to be seen as an excuse. It's his U.S. debut. They already was saying, oh, he was overrated. They don't think he's the real champ, that, it's Wilder than Fury and then him. But at the end of the day, AJ simply said the better man won. He refused to make any excuses. He said nothing was wrong with me. I was fine. He said I got hit with a shot to the temple that I never recovered from. We've seen AJ take bigger shots than that. Much bigger shots. It's like anything that Andy Ruiz landed flush. It didn't even have to be that hard. It's like he just, So if the situation is, well, you was concussed, that's why you was getting dropped so easily. Well, notice he would never go down and look wobbly. He just like he was staggering. He'd go down, he'd get up, he was good. He just would go down when he was getting hit flush. Well, the thing is that I'm saying, he denied it. And no matter how many people was even saying something wasn't right with AJ stepped in to kill all of that because he just looked, you know what? It is what it is. Let's go on to the next thing. And every single channel that hates AJ, okay, let's just say it like it is, and that loves Wilder, was jumping on the bandwagon. Every one of them was talking about how he stuck around in New York weeks after he got beat, how he was riding his bike up and down the street of New York. He was playing basketball in New York. And I mean, it's like everything he did. If the man would have farted somewhere, he farted in a local restaurant. Everybody said they could smell it. I mean, they everything that AJ did, they was talking about it. Okay? And they made more of an issue and trying to, I think it was more like they was just talking, and then trying to get somebody to say something because they were actually saying people are making excuses for AJ, and then they started shitting on him even further. But AJ himself never made any excuse, regardless to what anybody said. AJ never, ever, ever said, I lost because blah, blah, blah. He said, I lost because the better man won. Andy Ruiz did what he was supposed to do. It's not the end of the world. And that was the end of that. Okay. Now we have a situation where Deontay Wilder, his excuse was his costume and leg complications coming into the fight. That's what he said at the end of the fight. Well, the crazy thing about all of that is Wilder, that was his story, and he stuck with that. And the only thing he said after that was he's cutting the grass to weed out all the snakes. But he never followed up with who the snakes were, because what we understood was that Mark Breland was going to get fired. And then we heard, okay, now he's not getting fired. JD his name never came up. Nobody else's name ever came up. He took shots at Jarrell, saying that he was an informant for the other team, and he never said anything about anybody that was actually in his camp. So I always was like, when he said it was like, man, and the way how it came about, I just felt like it's just another excuse, man. And then, one thing that I noticed too, and this is, I've said this before, but when Wilder got beat, and then he watched the fight, Wilder simply said, "That wasn't me in there." Fury knew that wasn't me. He said, "I was like a zombie in there." I still don't see Fury as the world champ. I still see myself as the champ. That wasn't me in there. Not one time did Wilder say, "I think he had something in his gloves. I think he removed padding from his gloves." This man punches felt different. It wasn't the same. Okay? He never said anything like that. He never said anything like that. Okay? He never said anything about food poisoning, something in his water. He never said any of these things. Now, the other thing that gets me is this man is supposedly have a dent in his head from the previous fight, but yet he's already cleared for the third fight. So you have a fractured skull, because if you have a dent in your skull, basically that's what that is. You have a fractured skull, but you're cleared to go for fight 3. So what happens? He gets hit in that spot again, and not just once, but what happens? It's right here. If you see the photograph that they show. So what at what point does he not have a doctor say, okay, he himself, okay, even if people didn't believe him, let's say he really does have the dent. We saw the photograph that was put up, okay, if that wasn't Photoshop too. But Marcellus Wilder spoke about it. Wouldn't you be concerned if you had a dent in your head? That, hey, okay, if I already have a fractured skull, I can't keep taking hits there, man. I only want to take one more hit there. I already have a dent in my head, so it's fractured already. Okay? It's just like if you're chopping wood or something, right? You can't harm it with your hands. You can't push it over at first. But the more you dig into it, the more you chop, it gets to a point you can take it, you can push it over now. Same thing. If he has a fractured skull and bam, he's getting cracked in that, that's not a concern. But all these crazy excuses, and I know the first thing people would say was, yeah, but there was no controversy surrounding AJ's fight. There was no bad gloves, there was no poisoned water. This was just, he got beat, he just looked bad, and okay, that's what you guys, I'm pretty sure that's not the point that I'm focusing on. What I'm saying is all these excuses that you guys are making up, because the fighters themselves, Wilder's excuse was just as ridiculous with the costume, but that's all Wilder's ever said. As far as why he lost the fight, that's all he ever said. So trying to even tie in, well, I'm getting rid of all the snakes, like that had something to do, oh yeah, whoever poisoned his water, that's what he's talking about, or whoever. I mean, is he going to fight JDs? Because again, we keep talking about this man, the hand wraps, the glove situation, and I've already addressed and said, plain and simple, people who don't want to educate themselves, they don't know. They're not gonna learn anyway. They're gonna always have that opinion of, oh nah, but he had to cheat because. Let me put it to you like this. Okay. If you know what a palm strike is, okay? A palm strike is illegal in boxing. But to really get an effective, a palm strike is thrown, okay? A lot of times, you can watch any boxing fight. Watch Wilder fights. A lot of times when Wilder's hitting, in the heat of the battle, your palm can clip somebody, okay? It can hit a person with your hand in the glove. You pull your hand down, all you have now is fingers. That's one of the first things they teach you when you take any lessons in boxing, is you hit with these two big knuckles. You turn that hand over. You don't hit like this. And if you've known anybody, I myself has been victim of this, in my earlier years. Throwing, booming, threw a left hook and hit the bag instead of with this. All of this shit right here turned purple. Hyperextend that shit, you pull the muscles in it, all of that shit. It all the way up my arm. And I've seen that happen to several people because you throwing shots and bam, you throwing hard punches and you throw, the wrong way. First off, if your hand is not all the way in the glove, for you to land anything, your knuckles are like in the middle. Now, if what they're saying was true, he wouldn't be able to get any power, any impact behind those shots. So why would he put himself at a disadvantage? Because now you have to land nothing but palm shots to try to even get an advantage. So when you see this shot, like when it looked like he's going like this, it was a couple of times he was trying to hold Wilder so he can throw that right hand. That's what he was doing the most damage with. As far as you flicking a jab, but even regardless, not being able to really, they're saying he was punching like this. Look, even for you to throw a fist straight, if I'm hitting you with this, that means my hand is like this. And I can still easily break my hands, either one of them, throwing shots improperly. So somehow he's the master of throwing improper shots. We've seen certain things like the still shots was showing, like I said, a couple of times he would reach out, he would try to hold Wilder, and then bam, try to follow, like measure him with the jab hand, with his lead hand. But there's no way he can get power. He's no way you can get. If you told a person put some gloves on, put your hand halfway in, and just hit the bag, I guarantee you, unless they're just dumb, they're gonna throw the shot soft because they know this shit don't feel right. It just don't feel right. So now to try to throw with any power, you end up breaking your wrists, breaking your fingers easily. So I don't understand how somebody's fist being here is going to help him. So every punch he throws, he can't even throw the jab. Because if he's shooting the jab out, even if he's not turning, if he was doing some shit like this, just doing it straight out like this, he has to throw this shit on the side. He has to do it where this is landing, which means this take inches off now. Whatever how many inches is from here to here, just imagine. So now he has to get that much closer. Now you guys are saying, when he's throwing these shots, he was doing this, he was doing that, and he was being dirty. First off, you're comparing things from the first fight and combining it with the second fight. One thing had nothing to do with the other. But all the glove gate stuff and all this nonsense where it wasn't the wraps, it was the gloves, and we asked the question, well, where was the metal object? Because if I had like brass knuckles in wrapped under my, that would make more sense to have something like that where it was not going to be concealed. Because if it's not wrapped or in your hand some kind of way where it's going to fall out the glove when the glove come off. So that made no sense. You said it wasn't in the wrap. So okay, if it wasn't the wraps, then how was it in the glove? You saw fingerprints. You saw when you get your hands wrapped, the gauze and the tape and everything, it sticks out far. And of course it's going to put that, and then it'll cause the indentation. You'll be able to see it better. I mean, this is like just so crazy how people are so sold on believing that, nah, man, he was hitting them. He took the padding out. Again, the gloves are made with very little padding. Okay? Not someone took a sharp object, like I said in the last video, and cut the padding out, and all of a sudden, no. No. Do you think Wilder wouldn't sue these motherfuckers? Do you honestly think he wouldn't sue them for that? Like, hold up. Y'all approved these gloves? Hold up. JD's, you was in there, whoever he sent for him, right, to check the glove. You approved this shit? Wilder's not talking about gloves. But the fact that his brother did makes me know Wilder is fully aware of what's going on. Even if Marcellus Wilder didn't say that. He know all these channels, 7-8 Sports, Dante's Boxing Nation, Blue Blood. He knows all of these guys are his supporters. Fat Fanan, or however you pronounce his name, all those guys are his supporters, and they would definitely interview this man if he would. They don't even have to reach out. They probably have reached out to him. There's bigger platforms that Wilder could go on and have this conversation. Why is he not saying anything? It makes no sense to me how all these people are making such a big deal and keep talking and keep talking and keep talking, even though you're not proving anything. You're just making it worse for yourselves. And even that comparison about how, they wanted to investigate Wilder, but they for saying he wanted to kill somebody. Again, this came out of Wilder's mouth. This wasn't somebody said that Wilder did something or said something. This wasn't accusations from somebody. This came out of his mouth. And I don't care who said that. I think that was just some ignorant shit to say anyway, But at the end of the day, why would y'all care? Because if he said it, so if y'all felt like, well, he could have lost his life in it, well, Why was it okay for him to say he want to kill somebody? Why is it okay for any of that shit? I don't care when Mike Tyson did it. I thought it was some sucker shit. I didn't like when Mike did it or whoever. I don't care about how much of a legend you are or whatever. Wrong is wrong. So if it's such a big deal that, oh, well, they didn't investigate. Well, because Wilder's not saying shit. Wilder and Team Wilder's not asking for an investigation. Again, these people are not going to set up an investigation because Dante's Boxing Nation said he should, or 7-8 Sports, or whoever. That shit is not happening. Why is Wilder not saying anything? And why is none of these guys getting frustrated with Wilder? Like, Wilder, look, we trying to hold it down. We making all the dumb excuses we can for you. And you're not saying shit. You just sitting back chilling, twerking your ass. You're not even trying to defend this shit. So why in the hell would they have an investigation? Because a YouTube channel decides, oh, you should have an investigation because there's no way that he won. And then we started talking and shit about they don't want to see a dominant black fighter, yada, yada, yada. Need I say again, the man was protected the entire time he got the championship. He got it from a bum-ass champion. Let's be real, Burmester Vern. Then not only did he get it from Burmester Vern, but guess who his only 2 mandatories was? However long Wilder's been champ, he had 2 mandatories. Look at who his mandatories are. Burmester Vern and Dominic Brazil. Look at who AJ's mandatories are. And you tell me you can compare the two? Now, the other guy he's fighting, not Usyk, but the other guy, regardless, both of those guys are better than Dominic Brazil. Both of those guys are better than Burmester Vern by far. So at the end of the day, like, are you kidding me? So, regardless, mandatories are mandatories. We get that. You don't want to lose your strap? Cool. Take your mandatory. But all these excuses that was made, AJ never made excuses. Wilder did. Okay, people that noticed something was wrong with AJ, if you want to say AJ's fans made excuses, fine. Fine. But AJ never repeated any of it. AJ clearly said nothing was wrong with me. I was fine. He didn't put his team on blast. Nothing. Didn't Wilder? Didn't he clown AJ and Fury? I'm with the same team I had from day one. Y'all, they got to change trainers and all to try to beat me. They got to this and this and this. Didn't he say this? Didn't he say that about both of them? He clowned them, and then and even before the Fury fight, didn't he? I got my same team. You had to go out and get another trainer because this and this and this, right? Didn't he say that? But then he ended up saying he's about to get rid of all the snakes, right? Cut the grass, get rid of all the snakes. So what happened to your team that all of a sudden, a couple of days after you made that comment, they're snakes? But you still remain silent about what you have to say. Anyway, the whole point and everything that I just went through is, like I said, AJ never made excuses. And I don't feel like people made excuses. Something definitely wasn't right with him. But, like I said, lady spoke and she said Joey DeWico, they got a call from him confirming that he concussed Anthony Joshua. So if anything was on some snake shit, it's like, yo, you gonna have an easier time now, cause look, I gave AJ a concussion. Yeah, so you should put that pressure on him. He ain't going to take it. He's not going to be 100%. I just want to give you all that information. But, dude was dirty, right? So, what happened, happened. And if, with AJ being concussed, just about any guy could have beat him that night. If it was just a point of him not being able to take a shot, because, hey, it is what it is, man. But even still, he managed to drop Ruiz earlier, right? But he never made excuses. He said the better man won. It's not that people going to understand this and learn from that, or just, let me man up and stop making excuses, because people still going to do that asshole bullshit move of trying to, nah, man, it was because of this or that and whatever. And this dude being protected like he was all those years. Only 2 mandatories, and neither one of them was worth a shit. And if you remember, he was saying he didn't want to fight Mr. Vern. At least that's the act he put. I don't even want to fight this guy. All right, next time I'm really killing him for real this time. I don't even want to fight this guy. This and this and this and that. Okay? I mean, but again, regardless, AJ never made an excuse. He never said anything. He left that shit alone. He never revisited that whole, oh, nah, well, what really happened was he didn't say anything. He just left it alone. Not even though he could have got Joey DeWico to confirm, yeah, I did give him a concussion. And you know, I remember you people was talking shit about, well, if Joey DeWico can give him a concussion, what you think Wilder would do to him? Let's go back to Marvin Hagler and Sugar Ray Leonard, okay? Because Sugar Ray Leonard actually said that he didn't get concussed, but he got dropped. He said his sparring partner knocked him out. This came from Sugar Ray's mouth. You can look it all up. He said that his sparring partner knocked him out. And his whole team felt like, well, damn, Ray, if you can't beat your sparring partner, how you going to beat Marv? He ain't nowhere near as good as Marv, man. Like, I mean, well, how you going to beat Marvin Hagler? And, you know, Ray Leonard said, in his mind, his fight plan was he was going to go, and he was going to go toe-to-toe with Marvin Hagler. And he said when he got knocked out by a sparring partner, which was only like a week away or something like that, or 2 weeks away or something like that, that it made him think, damn, you know what? I think I need to just replan my whole strategy. Well, to go back to fighting how he normally fight wouldn't be hard because that's what he knows. Okay, let me stick and move. Sugar Ray was able to do. If he had to stick and move, he would stick and move. Certain fighters, if he could stand there and bang with him, he would. But at the end of the day, he got knocked out by his sparring partner. We seen Mike Tyson get dropped by Oliver McCall in sparring. So let's not act like sparring partners can't get to you. It's not like, you know, these guys, some guys that he just call off the street that don't know how to box. And when you spar with a person, you know, Ali and Holmes was sparring for years. So he was Ali's sparring partner. So Roy Jones, anybody, any great fighter tell you that, like, man, your sparring partner can wind up beating you, you know, because they know your style. They know your moves, everything. They don't want to spar with you all the time. So that's why a lot of people don't like to fight their sparring partners, you know. But at the end of the day, he could have had all kinds of evidence and proof that these things happened and clarified it. And then to the people that they still would have made excuses. They still do, oh, it's an excuse, it's an excuse. If it would have been Deontay Wilder. No, see, but in this case, Deontay Wilder don't have to make any more excuses. You guys are doing it for him. Anyway, man, that's all I want to say on this video, and I will catch y'all on the next one.